Hello from the National Weather Service in Missoula. This is your planning briefing for March 12th, 2020. We'll jump right in here and look at the weather threat matrix. So beginning early Friday morning, we have Arctic air poised to come over the divide and slowly work its way southward across western Montana. We have several different concerns. It's certainly going to be much colder, temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below what would be considered normal for this time of year. Potential for strong winds in northwest Montana. Also, we're going to have snowfall accompanying the front and then snowfall behind the front. Generally light to moderate totals, but we do have concerns for blowing and drifting snow because of the wind. As you can see, the highest impact we're anticipating is across northwest Montana Friday and Saturday, but certainly across the rest of western Montana and north central Idaho, at least moderate impacts, especially going into Saturday. Once we get into Sunday, things begin to wind down. We stay relatively cool with a gradual warm up early next week. Still be a few showers around from time to time, but not expecting another major weather system for next week. So we'll talk about a few questions and different probabilities. What we'll give out through the presentation is the forecast values, but do keep in mind with the front itself on Friday, we have the potential for flash freeze on the roadways. We're keeping an eye on that for that potential. It's fairly low confidence at this point. Also, we're looking at low wind chills for Friday morning in northwest Montana, which could affect people, headed to work, kids headed off to school. Cold air. There's inconsistencies in the models with how far south and west the cold air may reach, so it could end up being colder from I-90 southward. Winds could be stronger on the west side of the Whitefish Range along that Highway 93 corridor, and also on the east side of Flathead Lake. And then with snow amounts, there is a possibility of higher amounts along I-90 west of Missoula, in northwest Montana as far as Libby, Troy, that area, and then also in Clearwater County, Idaho. So if we start with the cold temperatures, we look at the graphic here on the left-hand side. Let me get the highlighter out here. You can see Friday's temperatures generally across western Montana in the 20s and 30s, 40s for north central Idaho. We get into Saturday, you can see quite a difference, teens and 20s for western Montana. And north central Idaho generally in the 30s, a few 40s. Low temperatures are pretty striking as well. Here on the left-hand side, we have Saturday morning's low temperatures, so anywhere from the single digits to the teens in western Montana. We move into Sunday morning, even colder, some below zero readings in far northwest Montana and single digits, quite common. Teens for north central Idaho. Now we had talked about the wind chills, so on Friday morning, about the time kids are out trying to catch the bus, it looks like we'll have a few single digits to teens for the wind chills in northwest Montana, so keep that in mind. By the time we get to Saturday morning, though, below normal readings for those wind chill values will be quite common. Now we'll take a few moments here and actually just look at the Arctic front and the timing of it. This is forecast models representation of the low-level temperatures, and you'll just kind of see how things progress. The front itself makes it into northwest Montana fairly early in the morning, pre-sunrise. It's already well on its way through Kalispell and toward Libby by about 9 a.m. And then it slows down some as it gets closer to the I-90 corridor, and it looks like it'll, get into the Missoula area either late afternoon or into the evening hours. And then it does make some progress southward overnight into Saturday morning. During the day Saturday, there may be some erosion of that cold air back to the north, but northwest Montana stays right in the thick of things. And then on Saturday night into Sunday morning, you can see the cold air is headed southward again. With the Arctic front itself, one of the impacts we're trying to keep an eye on is that flash freeze potential with a burst of snow and some strong winds with the front itself. And the focus would be over northwest Montana. We're just not certain how much precipitation is going to be with the front. Certainly going to be gusty winds with the front, but not certain on how much precipitation will fall with it. So something to keep in mind there. As far as a wind gust, the strongest winds in northwest Montana look to be on Friday night. As you can see, we have some gusts all the way up into the 50s, so there is some concern for some localized tree damage, localized power outages, so something to keep in mind there. And once again, we do have a little extra concern for this area here along Highway 93 northwest of Kalispell, and then the east side of Flathead Lake could potentially have slightly stronger winds than even we're forecasting here. So we'll kind of switch gears and we'll look at the precipitation. This is a forecast model's representation of the precipitation starting Friday morning. So we start to see showers fill in through the morning hours and progress gradually to the south throughout the day. And then something else you're going to notice, there's kind of a secondary area of interest here. So once we get into early Saturday morning, we have precipitation blossoming across north central Idaho, and then into this I-90 corridor west of Missoula. So that's something we're keeping an eye on as well, just for the potential for even heavier snow than we're forecasting. We'll look at those snow totals just here in a bit. And so it continues into Saturday morning. And then something else you're going to notice here on Saturday afternoon is we have these showers popping up in southwest Montana. And with the cold air in place, and you put these heavier showers over the top of it, it certainly could be problematic for roads. Looking at the actual expected snowfall values, not particularly impressive. We have 1 to 2 inches for some of the broader valleys, Flathead Valley, down to Missoula Valley, Bitterroot, and into southwest Montana. Kind of the same thing for north central Idaho and into Limhi County. Heavier totals, 3 to 4, 4 to 6 inches for these valleys in northwest Montana. And then we got 6 to 8 inches Marias and Lookout Pass, 3 to 4 for Lolo, MacDonald, and Lost Trail. And we have these point graphics that show snowfall in 6-hour periods, the amount of snow every 6 hours, and also a temperature graphic for the corresponding time. And quite a few of these are available at weather.gov/MSO/roads. So I invite you to take a look at more of those. I'm going to step through these fairly quickly. So if you need to pause and look at these a bit longer, go for it. But or go to the web page and take a look at some additional graphics. But for Marias Pass, you can see we start the day quite chilly on Friday, all the way down to about 10 degrees, and then it just drops from there throughout the day. With the peak in the snowfall during the afternoon and evening hours on Friday. Kalispell, a similar story. We do see temperatures either becoming steady or decreasing through the day into the afternoon hours, with some occasional light snow there as well. Libby, Thompson Falls, 2 graphics here. You'll notice the peak in the snowfall looks to be Friday night into Saturday morning for both locations, with the sharpest temperature drop-off being late Friday afternoon through Saturday morning. For Lookout Pass, once again, peak snow being later Friday into early Saturday morning. Same story for Missoula. And just looking at these temperature graphs, like we mentioned, the Arctic air doesn't really reach in Missoula until late in the afternoon or the evening hours, so that's when we see that sharp decline in temperatures. Looking toward Butte, focus being the day on Saturday, MacDonald Pass, some snow Friday night, and then again through the day on Saturday. Lolo Pass and Grangeville, we highlighted that Friday night, early Saturday morning time period, with the potential for even more snowfall than what we're currently forecasting. And then looking down towards Lost Trail Pass, the heaviest snow being Saturday morning, but overall fairly light amounts, and then not a whole lot expected for the town of Salmon. Well, that wraps up this briefing. If you have any questions, please give us a call, and thanks for listening. Have a good day.